Here we go. The race will be beginning any second. Like I said before, welcome to SpeedGaming 2. This is a race of Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. I'm your commentator, RokuBAX, at your service. We have leggystarscream and Pookie as your racers today. Here we go. Ooh, little bit of a desync here. As of right now, everybody grab your popcorn, your favorite bag of candy. You know, we're sitting here. We've got a little bit of a movie run for you today. Gonna be around 2 hours, maybe 2.5, depending on how Chaos likes us. But this beginning opening cutscene is going to take a couple of minutes, so this would be the time to use the bathroom. Go ahead, get all of your sillies out, or if you so happen, grab your favorite plushie and go ahead and start watching. It might take a second for it to hop on in for the audio. Oh, do we not have audio? No, there's audio. I make sure to have backups. So, anyway, we're starting our run here, starting in the city of Cornelia. We got our 4 crystals showing up in the intro scene here, making us the little sparkly sparkles. As we're off to the races. As you can see, we're going to go ahead, buy our equipment for the warrior, just to get a little bit of damage out on him, starting in the early game. And a little bit of better defense with that chainmail. And it seems like leggystarscream here, going for the continuous auto battle. Continuous auto battle in general is one of the new things that was brought into Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster here. The next one will be showing up here, right there, diagonal movement. But auto battle just allows you to kind of keep your inputs from the previous battle and continue into the next battle. And if you put on continuous auto battle, it will just continually start with auto battle on. Allows for a bit of quicker encounters. However, if there's an encounter that you don't want and you don't take auto battle off right away, you do not really, like, you don't necessarily waste time. There is wasted time in not taking that fight, but you're using up those spell slots or you're taking unnecessary hits that you don't want to take here. And diagonal movement just allowing our steps to decrease ever so slightly, removing the step counter from the original NES version if you guys ever played that. It looks like they're actually going to get the Chaos Shrine encounter here, as they didn't get the encounter on the swamp tiles. Pookie making it through though. Switching up the lead from leggystarscream here, and the monk is down on leggystarscream's side. That's not good. Pookie in the Garland fight here. Yep, that would be a reset for me as well. We need to keep that monk alive. The monk is our late game. Let's see what Pookie does with this advantage here. Garland going down on his screen at 4 minutes. 4-minute Garland's not a bad Garland in the slightest. And leggystarscream getting a much better Chaos encounter, but the monk's still going down. This is not what you want to see. leggystarscream going to take it anyways. Reason I'm not a fan of the monk going down at all and would probably still reset again is because the monk is our late game damage. It's the one that's going to be trying to solo chaos here, the one that's going to be able to punch things really hard from later on into the game. I'd much rather have the warrior go down or one of the black mages. Black mages are still a little iffy for me, as that is kind of our mid game and our really big spell encounters. And we can kind of see that with the monk down, you ran out of spell slots. Garland does go down for Leggy Starscream, but for a black mage and the monk not getting that EXP, the monk's still at level 1 here. Is that worth the cost of completing Garland? That's honestly up for Leggy Starscream to decide. Good thing about this run, though, is the adaptation aspect of it, and how well you can react to what you're given. So, to be perfectly honest, if Leggy Starscream can adapt to this, they will probably still come out ahead. We've got the bridge building scene for Pookie here. And Pookie with that early game advantage, but that early game advantage doesn't mean much as long as Chaos is still on the table. So, the question will be, how nice will Chaos be? Lich is still on the table as well. Lich, Astos, Demons, Tiamat. We're not out of the woods yet, people. Not out of the woods at all. So we see that they're going to rest off on Cornelia here. Leggy Starscream having to go to Cornelia to revive the monk and the black mage here. And that's never something you want to see. That is a little bit of wasted time here. However, the time splits right now in this early game do not matter. We still have Demons coming up. And if Demons... Oh, Pookie looking at keyboard controls real quick. Maybe not necessarily what he likes. That works with it. Being Leggy Starscream the lead here. Because Leggy Starscream is now on the bridge. So... Pookie now reaching the bridge. This is a next of our long cutscenes. So if you did not, grab your snacks, now would be another chance to do so. Other than that, we're off to the races here. Cutscene wise, there's not really that much more time for a long break. So, here we go. We've seen the lead exchanged 3 times before the ending of the bridge cutscene. Well, from the beginning of the game up until the end of the bridge cutscene. So, allow me to clarify. And we might see it change even more after this. First major route divergence could be Provoco. As for the team comps here, both running double black mage, getting that powerful wave clear and powerful spell slots for the Thundagas and Blissagas coming into the later game. Definitely a riskier party, though. Should you want to start running this, I highly recommend the red mage route or the white mage route, as you do get those healing spells. A little bit slower, but a lot safer. I have a feeling Leggy Starscream may try to grind outside of Elfheim here in order to get that monk up some levels. Definitely would be a little bit peeved that my monk missed out on that Garland experience, as well as one of the other black mages as well. But running into an ogre here, ogres are excellent encounters. 1 EXP for 1 gold, 1 ogre equaling like 198 EXP. That's 198 gold for the early game. And as of right now, money's really tight, so the more ogres we can get on the land encounters, the better our gold will be. We see leggystarscream getting plenty of ogres. Pookie also getting some ogres as well. So gold for the early game so far being really, really nice. And we have leggystarscream here at the inn. And she takes her rest. Will she pick up her tempers now? Or will she pick them up after the pirate fight? Or will she wait? And she goes for the tempers here. An interesting choice, not a wrong choice. This is this allows you to not have to come back to Provoca later on once you get your airship. However, it does tighten up the gold at Elfheim. And if you are not running on, or used to running on 3 potions, that can be a big issue buying your tempers this early. Both runners buying tempers here and getting into their pirate fights. The pirate fight does have a chance of dropping the saver for your warrior, allowing for that little bit of extra damage. And we do like to see a little bit of extra damage here. Not much to say for the pirate fight here. It's pretty easy, 9 pirates, but they don't do a lot of damage. You're pretty much able to one-shot them. So it's about a 3-round pirate for each person. leggystarscream still in the lead here, taking another rest at Provoca, getting those spell slots back for her mages. As Lukey finishes up pirates as well. Lukey Pookie G. And they're both now on their way out of Provoca. leggystarscream getting into the ship. The encounters that we want to see here are not sharks that always protect the bay, but instead buccaneers. Buccaneers providing a large amount of gold. 3 buccaneers providing 360 gold, and 5 buccaneers providing 600 gold as well. Another big gold encounter, just allowing us to get a couple more items here headed to Elfheim. Sharks are a good experience, but they do a lot of damage. The Hagen Chiefs aren't bad either, but nothing compares to those Buccaneers. Regular Sahagans, though, like on Pookie's screen here, are not worth it at all. Especially if you get a large encounter of them. Safety heal for leggystarscream and Cornelia. We got the 3 Buccaneers for Pookie. That is 360 gold, 360 gil here. Very, very important, and that is a decent amount of items here when we're trying to get every item that we can get. Pookie also stopping off on Cornelia. For that safety heal in order to get a couple of extra spell slots. Meanwhile, encountering the Big Eyes and the 4 Sahagans, a interesting encounter as the Big Eyes, as you can see on Pookie's screen, able to paralyze your characters. Definitely not something you want to see, especially on your Black Mages or Monk. And if it gets to your whole party, depending on how long it takes, that might be a reset. Having to revive on Pookie's screen, that's not nice. Not nice to see at all. So the main question here is, how will they fight Astos? They'll most likely temper their Monk and Warrior in order to get out that physical attack. Pookie running into another bit of Buccaneers. It's another 360 gold, maybe grinding up a little before heading into Elfheim. We see the Sharks and Sahagan Chief. Again, Sharks good EXP. Leggy Starscream heading into Elfheim here. I wonder if she thinks she's a bit behind just due to the fact that Pookie is so close to the to her PB. I wouldn't think that he's this far ahead. Picking up the one Thundara here. One Thundara, good for clearing out waves in Marsh Cave and for the grinding. As we see Leggy Starscream actually going for a grind here. Getting some extra levels, some extra gil. And extra spell slots also due to those levels. Which is always good. Going to the sea encounters definitely provide better gil and better EXP over the land encounters. Because you can run into those Buccaneers, giving you 600 gil. And the Thundara is now just able to take out kind of every encounter that you can see on the sea in one shot, as you just saw. Making kind of every encounter a decent encounter for you, especially when you get these 7 Sahagans and 2 Sahagan Chiefs. Also, in the grind, allows you to get a couple of extra items. As you can see, those Sahagans do drop potions. Always helpful. And we see 2 versions of the grind here. We see Pookie kind of grinding up in Cornelia, as Leggy Starscream was grinding near Elfheim, now going to buy some items here, picking up those antidotes, as well as just a load of potions, and as well as a couple ethers, making sure that those Thundara casts stay up, as we need at least 1 Thundara cast on our Black Mage for Pyso Demons, and the potions as well as antidotes going to come in very handy throughout Marsh Cave. Pookie making his way down into Elfheim as he's doing a little bit more of a grind, running into the small Buccaneers here. Always happy to see any Buccaneer encounter that you can get. Gold, gil is gil here, or gold is gold. Doesn't matter what form it's in. But are able to take down the Buccaneers with relatively little problem. Getting that Saber drop too, that's going on the Warrior. Hands down. As well as getting the Leather Shield drop too, making the Warrior just a bit tankier here. Being able to block some hits. However, as we see on Leggy's stream, she's going into Marsh Cave, and Marsh Cave is where the antidotes will come in handy. Being just able to poison, and if you do not buy enough antidotes, you will feel the pain of poison. Not that bad of status overall until you don't have those antidotes. Being able to take 1 damage every step, bringing you down to 1 HP. And we also see paralysis as well. This is definitely one of the more dangerous areas in the run, just because you are so... well, not under-leveled, but each encounter is just super strong. As you can see, these Scorpions here hitting the Warrior for 42, as well as being able to poison, is a nasty combo indeed. And we see Leggy Starscream picking up the Phoenix Down chest, as well as the 3 other chests, and just going... oh, no. Grabbing the 2 other chests, sorry. My fault. Only skipping that Phoenix Down chest before making the way to Pysos. Phoenix Down providing actually a lot of extra safety here, being able to revive 1 character, especially after Pysos, that can do a lot of damage. We're looking for like a magic number of 84 HP on these Pysos. There are 4 of them, and we now wait to see, as we see the Pysos 2-shotting the Warrior and almost taking down the Monk. That's Warrior going down, we don't necessarily care about, but taking out the Black Mage and the Monk too is not what we want to see. Paiso's Pookie's timer probably isn't going because he had to close it and then reopened it. We'll get you. We will get you his time as well. The monk going down for Leggy Starscream at the Paiso Demons. And the Warrior. Warrior going down isn't that big of a problem, as there's actually strat and argument for killing the Warrior here in order to get that XP into your monk. But with the monk down too, it's not a very good option. Pookie having to go back to revive at Elfheim here because one of his black mages are down. We will see what happens with Leggy Starscream if they decide to now pick up that Phoenix down, which she does. Not a bad choice here, reviving that monk. Huh? That's a question and a half. Reviving the Warrior instead of the monk here. I know the Warrior provides more HP and a little more defense against Astos, but that monk can provide more damage potentially should you decide to stack up the tempers. That's not what you want to see. Going back to the autosave. We'll see why. I'm not... That is a questionable choice on whether or not to keep the monk down here. But Pookie still has not made it into Marsh Cave. So is decently behind as Starscream is about to exit Marsh Cave. So there is a large difference in time here. And the Black Mage goes down. The problem with only having one Phoenix down is once another person goes down, they're down. And you want as many people alive as possible for the Astos fight here. The monk losing out on a lot of EXP as well. And you just have to feel sorry for Leggy Starscream here. As she does have that monk down. However, she does make her way out and on her way to Astos. So we will get to see Astos here. Astos, another very dangerous encounter, being able to cast party-wide spells. As well as Death. Death is something we don't want to see. Does have a 3% chance of casting it, but honestly, it feels a little bit more than that because he hits my party every time with Death. But we'll see after Astos. The game does kind of take a lull for a bit as you're now on a fetch quest. Here we are, we see Leggy entering the fight, tempering up the Warrior here, but you do see that Sleep. Sleep, a very powerful spell, stopping your party from attacking or doing their actions that they were doing here. Slowing it down. Casting Fire as well. And down goes one Black Mage, the other Black Mage still surviving. However, there's the death we don't want to see. an instant kill on the party member, and just the warrior's up. And there's the problem with temper strategy. Slow ends up happening, and once slow happens, that's less hits for your character. All of a sudden, that temper not feeling so strong. Pookie, question in chat, is Pookie having an issue going diagonal? Pookie is using the keyboard and mouse controls, so that could be an issue there, just depending on what the keybinds are. Because I'm not sure if Pookie is used to running with controller or keyboard and mouse. And yes, the 2x death is not something you want to see. Another issue with the temper strategy here is the idea of dark. Now your attacks can miss, and nobody likes to see a missing attack. The controller broke. That's not good to hear. And death on the warrior, Astos not being friendly. However, Astos does go down for Leggy. Leggy Starscream. Not in the way that you want it to, though. Was that a mithril sword drop? Was that the mithril sword? Alrighty. And Pookie over here. Hard resetting? Potentially? There we go. A hard reset. Didn't run into... Obviously ran into something that they didn't want to see. We do get that tape mithril sword drop. On whether or not you want to keep that mithril sword or sell it. The mithril sword does sell for a decent amount of gold in this early game. However, it does provide that sweet, sweet extra damage for the warrior as it is still alive. And here we have the Isos for Pookie. A regular attack here. And we want to see it hit the not the monk go down. But we want to see our Thundara hit for 84 here. Only taking out two of the Pythos, bringing the warrior down and the other black mage. Not... I don't know why the early game is deciding to be this difficult. It is a more difficult early game here as Leggy Starscream picks up her other Thundara as well. And I know this is a difficult early game. However, it's not really this difficult, usually. No, nobody is liking this early game here. Isos and Astos both being heavy reset points and just not being nice to either of the runners. I can feel some anger, insult. It's not something you want to see, but we'll see how well they adapt, since these are both two really good runners. A 5 Buccaneer drop encounter for Leggy Starscream here, but Leggy Starscream fleeing and casting one Thundara. Looks like the Thundara might go off here. Thundara goes, there's only 4 Buccaneers here. 408 gold, that isn't bad still, with one of them fleeing. Here we go, only taking out one of the Pysos, but both 3 Pysos go down here. That's a much better encounter. Everybody's alive. Everybody gets to level 9 on Pookie's side of the board. Leggy Starscream in Montoya's cave. So we have gotten past the first hard leg of this journey and down into the lull of the fetch quest here. After Astos, returning the crystal item Montoya, picking up the Jolt tonic, and heading back to Elfheim. If only. Oh no, if only. But their name is not Inigo Montoya. Sadly. We did not kill their father. We are not prepared to die. Yes, it is a fetch quest. Pookie making his way out of Marsh Cave here. Still able to leave, but we can see that the paralysis can take a toll here. Especially if it gets on your full team. Just not being able to meet, just not being able to move at all. Lady Starscream making her way back down to Elfheim here to give the Jolt Tonic to the elves. So we will see exactly what goes on here and how we will prepare for our dives into Earth Cave. And what items we want to prioritize. Handing over the Jolt Tonic, getting their skeleton key, basically. Opening up any chest that they want to. Meaning that Leggy can now go and grab these chests, 4 chests over in Elfheim, as well as 6 chests in Cornelia Castle. One of those 6 chests over there being the TNT, dynamite, or nitro powder. Pookie getting to Astos. Hopefully Astos will be nice. Please, we already had enough bad Astos luck. We don't need any more. Emperor going on to the warrior here. Dart getting cast, a chance to miss on the warrior here. However, the monk is now attacking. We see the 98 damage come out for the warrior. That is pretty decent, but the slow coming out, hitting the whole entire party. That is not something we want to see with the temper strats. And Fira here, taking out one of the black mages, almost killing another. Bringing the temper to the monk. The monk hits, and Astos is still not down, but uses haste. Haste is a horrible spell, but not when it's actually a conjunction for anything. We'll see if it actually comes to matter. Slow onto the monk. And Astos is down! A much better Astos fight for Pookie than for Leggy Starscream. But Leggy Starscream still has a decent lead. As she picks up her items, grabbing a couple of Phoenix Downs, 20 Ethers, and 30 potions. There we go. Honestly, I'd be happy with that Astos fight. Only one character going down with how evil Astos could be. I'd be fine with that fight. That's a black mage. It's not the worst character to go down, as I'd love seeing that monk alive a little bit more. However, that if you do take more encounters, you will have the problem of that mage not having the correct spell slots for what you need. And now we are going to the Duergar Cave on Leggy's screen here, going to deliver the nitro powder. And Pookie stopping in at the church to revive the black mage in Elfheim. Grabbing a couple of extra chests of gil in order to make sure that we have enough money for the fire goods coming up over when we buy in Melmond. Pookie resting up at the inn as well, grabbing those spell slots back, healing up the entire party. And grabbing his extra Thundara. Leggy Starscream in a little bit of a cutscene here. And Pookie showing us the anger that is starting within the middle of the town, not being able to press left or right away in order to actually leave, instead going back into the town. Definitely not fun. Going back and going to Montoya's cave in order to drop off his crystal eye, so she will be able to see again. Meanwhile, Leggy Starscream finishing up the TNT cutscene here. Going up to pick up the rest of the items in Dwergar Cave. Grabbing that worm killer, another extra couple of armor, cottage, a little bit of extra gil there. And now headed out of Dwergar Cave and heading for Melmond. Completing the Inner Sea portion part of the run and going into the full world here. Trying to take out a Shark on Pookie's side. And now on to Montoya's cave. Preemptive strike. Well, are we able to run right away? But we clear it just as well. So now the question becomes another preemptive strike here. We love seeing those preemptives and the potion drop. Good for that early game. Coming into Melmond here, going over to the defense shop, selling the cottage as well and the extra, buying a silver armlet here. Selling the cottage is definitely a way to go, as it does provide 1,000 gil. That is a lot of gil in order to buy your items. Hopefully there's enough for 2 Firagas here, which we should have hands down. Especially with that extra 1,000 gold. We have our Firagas, and now we are on our way to Earth Cave for our first out of 2 dives into Earth Cave. One going halfway through the dungeon, the other finishing it off. Question in chat, how much RNG in the 80% is there in the 80% run? It's pretty, like, I would say that it's pretty RNG. RNG is pretty heavy. You can see 2 people take the exact same route, but still get different encounters. If you're used to playing the NES one, or seeing, like, NES runs where they have specific step counters of, you know, like, 3 steps up, 4 steps right type of deal, and then you run into, like, 5 goblins, that is no longer the case here. Both can take 3 steps up, 4 steps right, and one could run into goblins, and one run into Crazy Horse. So the encounters are still randomized here. There's usually a 25 to 35, I think, step counter for each encounter, at least in the very early game. It does change as you get later on. And it all depends, and you still see, like, preemptive strikes. There's no, again, going back to the NES one, like the Bane Sword, or Bane Blade, whatever it's called, is actually not used here. There's no 2-frame window that can insta-kill Chaos because you poison it and give it Bane at the same time. So it's much more RNG heavy, with the ending being a full-on casino. Picking up that Coral Sword on Leggy Starscream's side, though. Pookie picking up his Alpine chest and Cornelia chests here shortly. As we now approach the 3rd floor, the 3rd basement of Earth Cave. This is a very important basement, as it is the first time that we are able to run into one of our favorite monsters here, cockatrices. Cockatrices being able to do one thing that's very important to this run, and that is stone our warrior and monk. As there's really no downside to being stoned outside of working with only half your party, as each party member is designated a percentage chance to be struck. And the reason we have this set up in this way of warrior, monk, black, and 2 black mages is that the warrior has a 75% chance, a 50% chance to get hit, and the monk has a 25% chance to get hit, and the 2 black mages both have a 12.5% chance to be targeted by a physical attack. If the characters are stoned here, such as the warrior and monk, that means there is a 75% chance that the attack that targets the warrior and monk will just miss. 50% on the warrior, 25% chance on the monk. So running into these cockatrices is something we want to see early, and we want it to happen fast, but as we can see on the Starscream side, we are not getting those cockatrices here. It's okay to farm for them a little bit, but there needs to be a time where you say no, and I wonder if leggystarscream has already said, I'm not gonna farm for cockatrices. I'm gonna kind of go with what they give me. A full choice by her if she does decide to do that. Meanwhile, running into this bat here, as we know it is not a bat, but instead a deadly vampire. Okay, I lied there. It's not deadly. It goes down to 2 Firagas here, and if it decides to do absolutely nothing with its turn, it cases the 1 black mage. Shouldn't be an issue here. I just still go down to the other. Oh, never mind. Only has 1 Firaga slot, so gazing that other black mage there was very good for the vampire. I am sorry, leggystarscream, for the commentator's curse. As she picks up her Star Ruby, taking that 1-turn vampire into a 3-turn vampire here. But is now on her way out. Hopefully. And there we go. There are the cockatrices we needed. 4 cockatrices. As you can see, she immediately hits defend on all characters, as we hope that the cockatrices will stone our warrior and will stone our monk. It doesn't look like it's necessarily happening right away. However, we will see. Our monk is now stoned. It is targeting the warrior. Stuff that we do like to see. They only do 1 damage, but that stone is what we want here. As we can just, if we could just stone the warrior. There we go. And now we're done. We go on, we cast our Thandaras here to kill the cockatrices and move on our way. Pookie entering the Weregar Cave here. We can see how far leggystarscream is ahead, and she is moving out of the Earth Cave. And he being Pookie, has not even entered it yet. However, leggystarscream only done with 1/2 of Earth Cave, and if Lich so happens, Lich can be a very difficult encounter here. No, we're moving on out. As you can see, Leggy is now working with only half of her team. If both of those black mages go down, that is a reset. You have to go back to your last autosave or your quick save. So there is a little bit of risk here, but running away from this Hilgigus is not bad. Using some potions to top him off. Or troll here, targeting the monk. As we can see that troll just missed its attack. Nothing will ever hit that monk as long as he's stoned. Everything will miss. And that's what we like to see. We like to see all those misses on that warrior. Pookie exiting Dwergar Cave, going out to the wider world. He's done with his inner sea portion. Pyro goes going on the troll, ogres. As you can see, kills 2 of the ogres, but not the other 2. As Leggy is now on basement 1 of the Earth Cave here. And about to leave, however, gets stopped by 2 Minotaurs. A little bit of a troll encounter here. We just want to go to the stairs. Sahagan's blocking Pookie's path. But we're out of Earth Cave for Leggy Starscream, and Pookie has finally made it into the wider world and parking his boat at Malmond. As he starts running in to heal up and buy his Furagas. Tenting up as well. Tenting allows you to recover the full HP for your party, as well as 2 spell slots of each level. Not a bad idea. Keeping up those spell slots for your Black Mage. Giving the Star Ruby over to the Golem. Because apparently this man really likes his rubies. Nothing tastes as good as a ruby. Has he tried Fruit Gushers, though? Or popcorn. Or chocolate chip cookies. I don't know. Take your pick of real food. As we now have Leggy Starscream getting ready to move into the Sage's Cave. And here we have the encounter of the Lesser Tigers. However, running away, not necessarily a fight you may not want to take, but however, it does have that 4% chance of dropping the X potion. And getting that extra healing item for Chaos can mean a lot here. Taking that Sage's Cave, going to the Sage's Cave though, grabbing the Earth Rod. As Pookie's now in basement floor 2 for the Earth Cave. As Leggy now leaves the Sage's Cave. You can kind of grab the Earth Rod. As the old man says it's dangerous to go alone, take this. And we say thank you and leave. $247 HP on the warrior for Pookie. As he goes to pick up his Coral Sword. Meanwhile, Leggy Starscream almost back into Earth Cave for her second dive. Second dive into Earth Cave, taking all 5 floors of it. Finally battling the true evil that is decaying the Earth. The Lich. And Pookie running into more ogres. A little bit of extra gold, but decides that he does not need it at this point in time. As Leggy Starscream's almost in the exact point that Pookie is on her second dive. As you can see that Leggy Starscream slowly seems to be increasing her lead over Pookie here. Getting back to basement floor 3. Lapping Lukey basically, but running into more cockatrices. We don't need... These birds can be extinct now. We found the only cockatrice encounter we need. We don't need them anymore. They do provide a decent bit of gold, though, at 800. So... that is something we like to see. Lukey not able to run away from these wolves. Wolves are decently speedy, and he's also poisoned by a black mage here. Poisoned. Has one of his black mages poisoned. Luckily we have a couple of antidotes lying around. As we are now grabbing the guild chest and moving on to Pookie's vampire fight. Leggy Starscream on the second dive, still in front of Pookie here. Moving on to the vampire room. Pookie taking that quick save. It's good to quick save a decent bit, as you don't want to lose a lot of progress here. Preemptive strike on 2 Pyso Demons. You want to see where Pyso Demons are originally from? Having Astos guarded, he chose some decently good warriors to guard his crown. We have the 2 cockatrice encounter over here for Pookie, almost immediately stoning the warrior here. That's definitely good. That's definitely good to see. But now we want the monk to be stoned as well. How quickly will the monk become stoned? That is the question. As there are another 4 cockatrices for Leggy Starscream, where we need those to be extinct on Leggy's side. We see that one of the cockatrices did stone Pookie's black mage. Luckily, we do have a couple of gold needles for this, but that is an issue. Now we're going to have 3 people stoned instead of 2, meaning that if it does stone our last black mage here, it's going to be a problem, and that is a reset. This monk not wanting to stone, though, saying, no, I like moving. Does not want to be hit by the Medusa magic. Yeah, he finally succumbs to the Medusa magic, as he is now turned to stone. The 2 cockatrices are cleared out. And we now grow to grab our gold needle, unstone the other black mage, and move on to the vampire or Pookie. It's the next big encounter that we need. Meanwhile, Leggy Starscream approaching Lich at my favorite floor in Earth Cave. A couple of different routes you could take there. Hopefully these mages are at least level 15. That way we have 3 Furagas each here. 259 on that troll. Very interesting. We'll see how it hits Lich, and we get to see kind of roughly what the stat is for the 4th mage here. Pookie at Vampire taking the Fyra approach, as Fyra is a decent spell to grab, as when you head to Marsh Cave there are a lot of undead encounters. Fyraga and Fyra easily ending the Vampire here, going up to level 12 and 13 for his party. Leggy Starscream doing a little bit more grinding in front of Lich here, probably for a couple of extra drops in that intelligence pool. However, I think that 4th mage has a decent intelligence stat. And we see Pookie grab his Star Ruby. And move on to the 4 Cockatrices at a preemptive. Going back to that fire choice, though, if you're going into Marsh Cave, you can face a lot of undead enemies. Undead enemies are weak to fire, so it is a good pickup to have. Definitely a choice here. Leggy Starscream moving to Lich. This Lich fight can be pretty nasty, as he does have a lot of spells that he can sling. We'll see how nice it is. It takes 3 turns to kill a Lich. If these Furias do hit, well, first Furia hitting for 268, so that 4th mage has around 30-ish intelligence, and 186 for that 3rd mage here. However, you are going to have to dip into those Thundagas on Leggy Starscream's side, as you saw 2 180 Fire-Aga damages, meaning that these Fire-Agas aren't going to... Oh, never mind. Lich proved me wrong. In every one of my runs where I've had that happen, it's always been one Thundara. Weird. However, Leggy Starscream clearing out a very nice Lich. Sub 1 hour Liches are absolutely great to see. And you can see just how nice Lich can be. Hopefully it is nice for Pookie's side as well. Down, yeah. Shanezel correcting me in chat. Thank you, Shanezel. I do appreciate that. Meanwhile, finishing up Lich for Leggy Starscream, moving out to Melmond and going to grab the canoe. So we will see what happens there on that screen. We have 4 Ogre Chiefs and 2 Ogres on Pookie's side, definitely willing to take that gold here. Casting Thundaras. Clearing out the encounter in 2. So we will get to see exactly what he decides to do. But now, for Leggy Starscream, has definitely entered another lull point in the run. Running into Buccaneers, that's another 600 gold there, buying those Thundagas. But this other lull point being, after Lich into Tiamat, your mages can pretty much clear basically anything in 1 to 2 spells. Ice Cave can be a little dangerous with the White Dragons and Ice Storm. But Waterfall Cave and especially Kraken, you're not looking at anything too dangerous. There are a couple of dangerous encounters in there, as is with every... Excuse me. Every, shrine. But this is definitely an easier part of the game. However, if you sit back and relax too much, those mages will go down. Leggy Starscream making her way to Crescent Lake, picking up her items for the next bit of the game here. Unequipping everything from the warrior to get that little bit of extra money, selling the coral sword, selling the iron armor and the saber, and 2 sets of clothes. Buying a couple of Phoenix Downs, maxing out on potions. And buying a decent amount of ethers, 40 ethers. More or less saying this train has no brakes. They're not stopping at any ends for a while. Or it seems to be using tents or cottages here. As they are now going to talk to this circle of old men and grab the canoe. Not even talking to the captain. No reason to talk to them when the one next to him has that canoe. Getting out of Crescent Lake and moving on to Ice Cavern. Next bit of the game. Pookie tenting up after he leaves his first stint. Running into Lesser Tigers. Hopes for that X Potion drop. Let's see if he gets it. Casting two Thundaras here. And we do not have that X Potion counter. Only a 4% chance, but we do like to see that. Again, any extra healing we can get for Chaos does actually help Pat out, as he can end up doing a lot of damage, and it can hurt should he choose just to keep casting Cyclone and Tsunami. White Crocodiles here. River encounters can be a little scary here. However, Thundaga just being able to take them out in 2 casts. But there are definitely some scary river encounters. Nothing that your black mages can't handle at this point in time, though. So we see a couple of piranhas and that white croc again. Right? The white crocodile loves showing up in the rivers. Meanwhile, Pookie having his golem walk off into the ether that is the side of the screen. And going to collect his Earth Rod. Meanwhile, an Ochu on Leggy Starscreams, not worth fighting it in the slightest. That's it's only one encounter. One of the main things that you need to adapt is what encounters will you take and what encounters will you not take. That Neochu is definitely not an encounter you want to take. We did see Leggy Starscream take that one white crocodile, using up 2 spell slots for it. Where somebody else might not take that single white crocodile. Meanwhile, Leggy Starscream entering Ice Cave here. Running into a couple of Blood Bones. Not a terrible encounter. Undead equals fire. 270. Pookie picking up the Earth Rod here and leaving the cave. Meanwhile, getting ambushed by the Blood Bones. The Blood Bones are back. They're just like dry bones in Mario. You don't kill them, they'll come back. And apparently we didn't kill them correctly. Moving on, these Dark Wizards. Not necessarily the best encounter to have. Don't have a lot of HP, but can cast that defensive magic and very strong magic spells as well. 4 Spectres, not an encounter that Leggy wants heavily, as we saw the Fleet and Thundaga here. Moving on to the 2 White Dragon encounters. This can be a very scary encounter, as there is that Ice Storm, and if both of them do cast Ice Storm, that's basically a party wipe here. Pookie tenting back up again, and he's dive into Earth Cave, potentially. We'll see if he'll be taking a little bit of extra encounters here. Five Spectres going down on Leggy's side, gaining that increase in level. And as you can see, we just want to fall down the hole. There's no way to get to that Levy Stone in the center there, taking our forced encounter. Just being able to cast Fire Thundaga here, and we're basically going to win the battle. Cottaging up before the Earth Cave dive for Pookie here, gaining all HP and all spell slots back. Very, very important here. Moving into the second dive for Pookie. Leggy Starscream just moving straight on through. If you wanted a little bit of extra gil and a little bit of extra safety, you could grab the 2 chests off to the right-hand side before you went down those spikes, but there's no reason to if you're very good at the run like these runners are. Or want to challenge yourself a little bit. Get that little bit of extra speed going. We got some Cobras on Pookie's side here, 5 Cobras. They do have a chance of poisoning. You don't necessarily want to see that poison. Or I could Commentator's Curse onto them. We'll see. Meanwhile, the double white dragons again. Not what we want to see. Putting some ethers on, and we are at almost out of Ice Cavern here for Leggy Starscream. Pookie running into some more ogres. And the double white dragons again, apparently a favorite encounter of Ice Cave today. Casting the Ice Storm, not what we want to see. However, both of these now go down. Soon we will not have to deal with that. Once we get out of Ice Cave, at least for a little while, picking up the Ice Shield, picking up some extra gil here, right before we fall down, right in front of our Levy Stone. Who would have thought? Getting Evil Eye, casting Thundog on it, and we get to watch it fade into dust. As Leggy Starscream now has the Levy Stone, just needs to get out of Ice Cavern here. Not going to be that difficult. Has one more scripted encounter and a handful of encounters left to get out. Here it is, that scripted encounter giving us the preemptive. Always good to see any preemptive strikes you can get. One white dragon, not necessarily the scariest encounter. We're scared of those too, because Ice Storm can 2-shot our mages. Preemptive on an Ice Gygus here. Are not able to flee on the preemptive here. Stuck around, probably taunted him a bit for those white mages, and then moved on. As we now approach the stairs. Hacking those blood bones. Because they wanted to come back for one nice final bout. And Leggy Starscream done with Ice Cavern here. However, a black mage going down, we do not want to see that. As that is half our way clear down. But we do have Phoenix Downs here, as we have prepared. Because Leggy Starscream knows to buy their Phoenix Downs, kids. Meanwhile, Pookie on basement floor. Basement floor 4 of Earth Cave here. Again, my favorite floor in Earth Cave, as there's just 2 slightly different routes you can take that lead you to the same spot. Like you start getting a very interesting encounter of 3 crocodiles and 4 hydras. As we're just waiting to run, Pookie taking the northern route here, as there are a couple of different routes you can take that lead you to the same spot, and really only one encounter separates them. Just something ever so slightly you can do to tweak the run to your own. Is always really interesting to see. There are a few rooms like that. Another one being floor 4 of the Flying Fortress for Tiamat as well. Meanwhile, seeing the last few sea encounters, hello Sahagans, and we will not miss you, however, we will miss those Buccaneers. Maybe one more Buccaneer for the road? Maybe? Well, that was a no, but Lady Starscream picking up her airship here. Now having next to no encounters, only a few more overworld encounters if you can believe it, maybe a handful more, a couple on to and back from Lunafea, maybe one for the caravan, and a couple to get to Waterfall. We're almost done with overworld encounters though, as we will now just be mainly be seeing dungeon encounters. So we will get to see what Lady Starscream decides to do here. Looks like she is just moving on to the Dragon Isles, picking up the X Potion and the Elixir within the Dragon Caves here. And a couple of extra kill within that one room, and immediately going out of there. Wonder if she will pick up this elixir here, and she will pick up this elixir. So that's probably going to be another encounter here. Pookie on Lich here. Lich casting haste, something we don't like to see. However, it seems like Firaga here is not doing enough damage on Pookie's side. Each of them are hitting 180. They're not crossing the 100 mark. And we see the Blizzara taking out a white mage and having the other one live on 2. That is not something we like to see. However, he does have Firaga here, allowing it to do 130 instead of the Thundara. And there goes. Lich decides to be evil and wipe the party. That's not something we like to see. Like I said, Lich can be a hurdle specifically because of those party wipe. Blizzara, Thundara, and fire spells. We'll get to see if those were just rolls here. 195, so he was getting very unlucky with the rolls of all 4 of them hitting 180. Like in the 180 mark here, and that's another wipe. Why? Lich, why? Why do you want to be a Lich? Lich? Moving back, going to Firaga's here. We can see Leggy Starscream entering Waterfall Cave. Waterfall Cave is a pretty straightforward cave, allowing you right at the end to collect your first ribbon, as well as the Warp Cube, allowing you to actually get into Tiamat's Flying Fortress. Will Lich play nice for Pookie here? Let's hope so. He deserves an easy Lich, but Lich says no. Meanwhile, we have the forced encounter here over for Leggy Starscream right before picking up that Warp Cube with that Golem. Pookie going back into their fight with Lich. Firaga's coming out for Leggy Starscream here. Should clear that full encounter there. Obtained the Warp Cube for Leggy Starscream. picking up some good gil here, equipping that ribbon. Ribbons being one of the best defensive items in the game here, allowing you to take half from all incoming magic damage, as well as being immune to all status conditions. There are 3 in the game here, and at the end of the game, we will have 3 characters unstoned, which is exactly a 1-to-1 ratio for ribbons to characters. Pookie finishing Lich here, Lich finally being nice for Pookie, as he is now able to collect his Earth Crystal and move on from Melmond, going to collect his canoe. Meanwhile, let's take a look into these Monk HPs. I know there are several levels separating here, but we have 218 for Leggy Starscream's Monk here. Not a bad HP to be at, as there's still plenty of game left over. Meanwhile, these Black Mage HP for Leggy Starscream looking absolutely phenomenal, both being around the Monk's HP, exactly what we like to see. And we see 219 HP for Pookie's Monk, which is also stellar to see. However, you can see both of those Black Mages sitting at 138 and 157 for Pookie. Definitely not as high rolling in HP as Leggy Starscream's. Leggy Starscream's Black Mage is going to be so tanky come late game. Going to be able to definitely take one of those hits from Chaos and hopefully get out that haste or temper before they go down. Finishing up Waterfall Cave here, going back to the airship. Now going on to the caravan to collect the new items that we're going to need from there. One being a bundled fairy and some giant tonics and speed tonics. And potentially power tonics if you so choose. So here we go into the caravan. Going up to the man, selling first our ice shield and our extra items. Buying the bottled fairy, talking to him again, and being able to buy those speed tonics and giant tonics and the speed drinks. You can see that there was an extra giant tonic bot there. Not a bad pickup, especially if you're worried about your Monk HP. Lesser Tiger here. Chance to get that X potion. Let's see if Leggy gets it. We may never know. Meanwhile, landing in Gaia, one of the last shops in the game here, releasing the fairy, but this is the shop in the run where you would kind of buy the rest of your items for the run that you would need, maxing out on ethers and high potions and potentially potions as well. Picking up Blizzaga. Will we get 1 or 2? We've got 1 Blizzaga for Leggy Starscream here, as we now move into buying some Protect Rings, potentially? Buying 3 Protect Rings here. Definitely a good buy. Allows your group to become a little bit more tanky. And that is what we like to see. Now we have around 20,000 to play with. Maxing out on ethers here. Buying a couple more Phoenix Downs in order to be safe, and buying as many high potions and potions as you can. So, come late game here, these ethers will be important as we continue going on, kind of behind here, running over to the fairy that popped out of our bottle for some reason, even though we didn't open it. And Pookie going over here for his Crystal Lake shops, picking up his Thundagas as well, going down to 5 gil, almost had the perfect amount of gil. Almost didn't have enough gil. And picking up his canoe as Leggy Starscream leaves here. And it goes back down to Onrak. On to Kraken. We'll get to see why Kraken is so easy here come in a second, but one of the main things about Kraken's dungeon that is different from every other dungeon is the fact that you start on the 3rd floor of the dungeon instead of the 1st, allowing you to either go up or down. We do want to go up first, as that does provide us with a couple of extra items that we do like, but going down does provide you with the Giant's Gloves and another ribbon as well. And as I've already stated before, ribbons are a phenomenal item. We see Pookie starting on his river encounters, running into Neochu. Meanwhile, you get to see the upgraded version of the shark, the white shark, taking 2 Thundagas to kill. Or 2 spells to kill in general. Worth good EXP, but not necessarily alone. Same with the water. The water Naga here. This is a very high EXP in EXP area, so you do want to be taking these encounters. Just you don't want really that many single encounters. Water elementals here can provide a lot of damage, taking a Blizzaga to them and taking them out. Getting to level 20. Onto floor 5 here, picking up the Diamond Armlet for the Monk. One of the best defensive items outside of the ribbon for that Monk here. And meanwhile, as you can see, we have not run into an encounter yet. That is because there are no encounters on floor 5 of Sea Shrine. And now we pick up our Rosetta Stone here. Outage up for Pookie right before entering the Ice Cavern. We'll see how his Ice Cavern unfolds here as well. Running into a couple of undead here, casting Fyra. Why am I calling it Fyra? Fyra, and wiping it out in one hit. Running into undead in the Sea Shrine, also weak to Fyra. And again, Sea Shrine being an area where there's a lot of high EXP enemies, especially within a group here, is definitely something we want to see. Oh, seems like leggystarscream's screen has froze. Her restream. Looking at Pookie real quick, we see he's battling 5 Spectres, wiping them out in 1 Fyra. On his way to about halfway through the dungeon here, basically. And leggystarscream just not getting a lot of high EXP encounters here. There we go, 2 white sharks and a shark. It's a decent encounter here. Like I said, white sharks being able to take out in 2 spells. Getting those increased levels here. Almost 6,000 EXP for a white shark and the deep eyes alone, and that's only with 2 creatures here. The 2 sea snakes and the troll provide us with 2,700 experience. Decent experience farm overall, and that one beforehand only took 1 spell slot. Uragi here coming in for the 5 ghosts. Let's see how much EXP this takes. This is 4,900 EXP. So as you can see, high EXP yields for each group here. Meanwhile, Pookie taking advantage of having the Fyro with him and going off to the right here, picking up those couple of extra chests for the gold. Making sure that he has enough gold in order to buy the items that he needs. Leggy Starscream moving on here. Getting ever closer to Kraken. Pookie having the 2 white dragons here. Not something we love to see. However, getting those extra items, again, for Pookie, getting him a little bit of extra gold, and every piece of gil matters. Leggy Starscream clearing out the encounter that gives us the Giant's Gloves here. Giant's Gloves being a very important item, casting Saber if used as an item, and the Giant's Gloves give plus 16 to the attack power and plus 10 to accuracy. That is something we definitely like to see on our monk once we unstone him. And Temper giving plus 14 to attack power as well. Getting our second ribbon here, going on to another Black Mage. Basically making Kraken a non-factor unless he decides to attack our Black Mages, but each Black Mage has a chance of being attacked a 12.5% of the time. Now watch as I say that, and both Black Mages go down. So you can kind of see why Kraken is a little bit of a lull, why I consider it to be a little bit of a lull state here, because we have 2 ribbons. At this point in time, he either attacks 50% of the time or inks 50% of the time. And if he inks, we have 2 ribbons, can't be dark from, like, our mages can't have the dark status, and everything misses on our 2 stone characters, so that's a completely wasted turn. And that can happen 50% of the time. And if he attacks 50% of the time, 75% chance of those being attacks are directed towards our stone characters, meaning our Kraken fight's gonna be, or should be, decently easy. Pookie, meanwhile, grabbing up those extra chests. As you can see, as I was talking about the Kraken fight, getting a lot of extra gold, a few extra items. I guess wanting to make sure that he is perfectly safe here before heading out onto his final shops, money-wise. However, Leggy Starscream getting ever closer to Kraken. Almost there. Probably about in another encounter or 2. No, 1 more encounter maybe. 1 more encounter at the door. 1 sea troll wanted to try and stop us. We don't necessarily care. Get us to our Kraken. Quick saving beforehand. Kraken will go down into 6th Thundaga cast here. 3 from each of our mages. And we will see what happens to this Kraken fight here. Pookie picking up his Levystone, now moving to getting his airship here. Meanwhile, Kraken behaving very nicely for Leggy Starscream and able to clear Kraken on the first try. Like I said, Kraken's a very, very easy boss here. And part of this lull state, however, soon it will become more difficult again. It's just going to be a couple more minutes before we get to the Mirage Tower. So if you guys want to see some Warmech, I suggest you start praying to the RNG gods and hope for that Warmech. 1 in 64 chance of appearing in the Flying Fortress. But it is a non-zero. Pookie making his way out of Ice Cavern here. Clearing these white dragons. And finally reaching the stairs. Exiting, going to heal up here. Leggy Starscream is now making her way back to Malmond. Picking up this other silver armlet for the other mage. Getting them to be a little bit tankier, as she now starts to learn Luna Fan from that Rosetta Stone we picked up earlier. Always helpful, and will help us pick up the chime. Finally learning Luna Fan, and we are now out of Melmond, never to revisit again. And now on our way to Lunafea. However, first, Elfheim for haste. Always a question of when is the best time to pick up haste. Stopping at the item shop actually. For some extra potions here. And ethers. As well as Phoenix Downs. Remember kids, buy your Phoenix Downs. If you run out in Chaos, it can be, or in the Chaos Shrine, it is a doozy to try and get. In fact, picking up haste for both mages here. If Pookie hasn't picked up haste, I think he only picks up one. However, there is a debate amongst the community on when to pick up haste. Is it best to pick it up when you're in Elfheim? Or do you pick it up when you have the airship? And do a giant shopping spree kind of right before you head to Waterfall Cave? Or can you pick it up now? This is one of my favorite rooms to see. Wait, Leggy Starscream just ran through. One of my favorite rooms to see as just the movement looks really, really nice. Shows that diagonal movement really, really well, in my opinion. Meanwhile, in Mount Gulag, it does show that the main gimmick here is the floor is lava. Interesting that Leggy is deciding to do this first here, meaning that she is going to go and pound Merilith into the ground with some Blizzagas instead of punching it with the monk. A different strat, not one that is bad, but as you can see, fleeing every encounter here, we are just so over leveled for this here that the EXP and time that it would take to actually finish these encounters isn't necessarily worth it. Pookie in the Dragon Caves picking up his extra healing items of the potion and the elixir, as well as some extra gold here. Meanwhile, you can also see that Leggy Starscream is encounters kind of on the first land tile that is physically possible. That's not lava. The reason why is that you cannot get an encounter tile on a lava tile. However, it still adds to your step count here. Meanwhile, Leggy Starscream just getting the Merilith, unstoning the monk here. Interesting play. I'm wondering why Merilith first. Wow, Merilith before Tiamat. If it's just easier, or if there's a specific reason for it. I know the monk went down a couple of times. We do see that the monk does cast dark here. However, we do see the monk strat coming in of the black mages tempering and hasting the monk as the monk goes for Giant's Gloves here. Merilith isn't necessarily that big of a challenge, can still be a little bit scary as she can physically attack. However, I don't necessarily think we will see it here. And Merilith going down to one punch. That's kind of how overpowered we are for the Merilith fight. Not that much, but Leggy Starscream now finished her third crystal. And Pookie is now in Waterfall Cave. Running into a green dragon, one of the only scary encounters inside of Waterfall Cave here. The other one kind of being those nightmares. actually clay golems, as they can cast haste. After finishing Mountain Gulag, going back over here to land, go to Lunafea, grab the Chime, and finish up Tiamat. Some Wyverns here. And moving down, we've got maybe about another encounter or 2 encounters until Lunafea on Leggy Starscream's side. As we can see, that warrior has 1 HP, but it does not matter because that warrior is stoned. That warrior is invincible to physical attacks. You cannot hurt him. He laughs in the face of danger. Meanwhile, we are now picking up our Chime on Leggy Starscream's as Pookie over here has now grabbed his Warp Cube for Tiamat. And Leggy Starscream making her way back up, running into a Minotaur Zombie here and a Troll. The encounters for Lunafea aren't necessarily the worst, but not the best either, only providing 1600 EXP for both of those two. Or Hillgeigus, though. Only about one more encounter before she gets to her ship. We'll see. Nope, we're pretty safe in the ship here. And now on to Tiamat. Running to 2 Desert Beretta. Meanwhile, on Pookie's screen, 2 mummies and a big mummy can go down 2 fires. Or Firagas, but decides not to take that. On to floor 2 for Leggy Starscream, running into the rare blue dragon here. As we see that blue dragon going down into 2 rounds. And we can see that that blue dragon can do a lot of damage here. Making our way up, we do see some guardians here. If they look a little bit familiar, that is what Warmech looks like, but that is not Warmech. Oh, we are getting ever closer, everybody. Ever closer to the Warmech. Will we see the Warmech? Only chat can decide. Because I believe that Twitch chat controls RNG. Prove me wrong. Both of them getting the 4 Hydra and 3 Crocodile encounters here. A very interesting encounter. This is just a lot of enemies that can potentially hit hard, especially for the river. However, Pookie finishing up Waterfall Cave and heading back to the airship, and Leggy Starscream about to run into the forced encounter here of the Blue Dragon right before moving on to the Flying Fortress for Tiamat. So we will see what happens here. We know that Blue Dragon will be 2-cycled. Never mind, it's a 1-cycle. Monk getting that extra damage. Warp Cube going up to the Flying Fortress. Pookie, meanwhile, buying the Giant's Tonics and the Speed Tonics. Buying that extra Giant's Tonic as well for the Monk come earlier or later, depending on what happens. Meanwhile, now in the Flying Fortress for Leggy Starscream, about to pick up the final ribbon here. Final ribbon running into some chimeras. A monk getting poisoned the last time. The monk will get poisoned though. We will see. Just riding out that poison to get that antidote, healing up, and equipping that ribbon to the monk. We're all ribboned out. Everybody's got their hair tied back, boys. On Leggy Starscream's side, everybody's taking half damage from magic attacks, as well as not being able to take status here. Pookie buying all the ethers that he needs, as well as all the high potions. And 25 Phoenix Downs, 33 antidotes, and a couple of gold needles. In the Gaia shop. Looks like he's prepared for end the game here. Blizzaga going down to that. Leggy, and moving on to another one of my favorite floor in Flying Fortress, floor 4, just because there are multiple different ways you can take here, meaning that the next floor is floor 5, which is Tiamat, meaning that that long walkway is for Warmech a 1 in 64 chance. Should we want to see some spicy encounters? Nothing more spicy than that. We see Pookie running into a Lesser Tiger here, and a couple of Sabertooths, 4% chance to drop that X Potion. Let's see if he gets that X Potion here. And does not get that X Potion. Sadly, I don't think anybody has gotten that X Potion in this run from those drops, meaning we're not going to have 4 heals, we're only going to have 3. 3 is fine. Leggy Starscream on the walkway here, and we have no Warmech. There might be 1 or 2 more encounters before Tiamat here. Another 1 in 64 chance to grab that Warmech, though. We will see. No Warmech here. Healing up right for Tiamat. Quick saving, and let's see how the Tiamat works for Leggy Starscream. This is a hard boss to face, as it's just we're still under leveled to be in this area. But we will see what happens. Tiamat may be nice to us. We are going to take a few turns to set up here. Meanwhile, Pookie in the Sea Shrine here, grabbing those high EXP encounters. Just starting on the Sea Shrine though, and going up to grab his Diamond Armlet and his Rosetta Stone. Still buffing up the monk here. We usually want to spend 2 turns buffing our monk for Tiamat here, and then we'll end up sending the damage straight his way for a 2-shot from the monk. I like the high potion here, but I don't think it's going to do much. It's going to knock out those mages. However, we see that 50% chance being attacked by the warrior, and that Tiamat goes down. Half of that EXP going to the monk, and half of that EXP going to the warrior, which is absolutely exquisite. Especially for that early game the monk had of missing out on Garland. That definitely caught him up there. Taking the white shark here for Pookie. Meanwhile, Leggy Starscream all done with each of the 4 elemental fiends, or the 4 fiends, can now move on to Chaos Shrine here. Welcome to the casino, everybody. Grab your chips, leave your coats on the coat rack. We're gonna sit down and play some Texas Hold'em. And we'll see if Leggy Starscream can sit at the big table with the big blinds of the big wagers. Leggy Starscream just going straight in the Chaos Shrine here. Not getting the Chaos Shrine encounter. The level 1 encounter here, which is a very, It's not a hard encounter, it's just an annoying one. Which, glad to see that there was no annoyance there. Now on to Chaos Shrine itself. We're gonna have a few floors to go before we get into the elemental floors, so nothing super hard yet. This is another area where the EXP yields are high. However, it can take some time to clear them. So it is up to you on whether or not you want to, or if you do not want to take these encounters. But we'll see here. Dark Fighter and Dark Wizards going down. As you can see, you can just see the power of the mages with their high level spells here. Forced encounter of a Death Eye. Not gonna be too bad. It's gonna die into 2 fire eagles here. And we get to move on with our day. It's kind of a blink and you miss an encounter. And now we have the loot finally coming into play here. That we've got since the beginning of the game. Opening up a doorway to get further into Chaos Shrine here. Getting into some encounters in which you just want to run away from. Meanwhile, Pookie seeming to get close to his Giant's Clubs here. 318 HP on his Monk here. Monk HP check 314 for Leggy Starscream here. The HP's not looking the greatest. However, they both each have 4 Giant's Potions. So they will be able to max out their HP stats here. As it's not a bad idea. As you can see, the fire spell does come in handy still, and you're in Sea Shrine. Almost taking out everything for that Giant's Clubs encounters besides that King Mummy. Here we go, a couple of Chimeras, and then by Chimeras. Some more Chimeras. And we see, do we just go, yep, we go bye-bye. We go ahead and leave. And meanwhile, now we're, oh, wow, the ambush encounter right before the stairs for Leggy. That's not fun to see. It's just mildly annoying. Small annoyance there. Little bit of a troll. Game says you didn't get War Mech, but we'll give you that stair encounter. Now we are in Chaos Shrine in the final 5 floors, and this floor and the next 3 floors are based on each of the elemental fiends. This floor being the Lich, and then you have the Merilith floor, the Kraken floor, and the Tiamat floor. If you know the weaknesses to Lich 1, Merilith 1, Kraken 1, you can use these spells on the floor, really. And if you know your encounters, as well as their weaknesses, just use the spells they're weak to and you can kind of clear it decently well. However, on these elemental reef fights, they lose their previous weaknesses. So Lich is no longer weak to fire spells. And is compact with a couple of extra tools like Flare. Which we do not like seeing. Oh, kill kill's interesting too, but we'll pretend that it didn't just happen. But a couple of extra tools here that can make him very, very scary. And in fact, Kraken, Lich, and Marilith all come with some new toys, and Tiamat actually, I don't think really got anything new here. Lich going down being very, very nice for Leggy Starscream. Now moving on to the next floor, the Marilith floor here. Pookie reaching Kraken 1. So we will see Kraken 1 go down again and just see how laughably easy Kraken 1 can be. Unless he attacks the mages. There's an ink from Kraken 1 doing absolutely nothing. Kraken 1 just gave this... Oh, another free turn from Kraken 1 on Pookie's side. And Kraken 1 just decided to do absolutely nothing and just sit and... just sat and decided to become Calamari. Look at that. Good job, Kraken. Good job. Clap us. Clap. Clap him. Meanwhile, Leggy Starscream on the Marilith 2 fight can definitely swing for a lot harder, go straight down the line and kill everybody in your team. Comes packed with a couple of extra new toys, but like Firaga here, but not necessarily the hard. Not really that hard, but you see that when they attack, it does 475 damage, and 475 damage is a lot of damage, and I don't think we can repair it with Flex Tape. But Marilith 2 goes down for Leggy Starscream. 2 more Fiends and Chaos to go. This is a very large lead for Leggy Starscream here, but Chaos can be this brutal sometimes, and definitely close that gap. So we are now on Kraken 2 for Leggy Starscream on the Kraken floor. Pookie learning Lunafan, getting a nice class here. So, not really, a little bit of a small break here. Not much going on. Finally learned Lunafan. I guess Lunafan is a level 1 language. Pretty easy language to learn, as it's just, you know, a couple of nods and you're done. Meanwhile, Leggy Starscream about to enter Kraken. Maybe one encounter. This might be the last encounter for this floor here. We'll see if we decide to... Yep, we decided to escape here. Instead of casting out Thundaga, saving that Thundaga spell slot. Healing up our party. Quick saving before Kraken 2. Kraken 2 can cause a little bit of an issue. Not much, though. That ink, though, being hilarious. We saw how useful that was in Kraken 1 last time. So, please, go ahead and give us another ink, sir. Oh, listen to us. So... we'll see if Kraken decides to go down on one hit. Nope. It's going to be another round here, but it's not really going to matter that much. Kraken can kind of Do absolutely nothing. Do absolutely nothing. Kraken, why are you so bad? Oh. Kraken just being nice all the time. But now we are on to the Tiamat lore. Tiamat 2, not that much different from Tiamat 1. Definitely the weakest, if not, the second weakest, if not the weakest, out of the 4 elementals here. Can still do a lot of damage, but you're not as scared of Tiamat here than you were the first time. You have your ribbons, you're taking half magic damage from all of his spells, you know. As you did the first time, you probably have a couple of extra levels. And it's you're gonna have an easier time on Tiamat 2 than you are on Tiamat 1. It hands down. High Potion going out here. High Potion is definitely not bad. You do want to keep your monk up, because if your monk goes down, then you have to revive your monk and re-put on all these statuses of, you know, haste and saber and temper. Tiamat 2 going down for Leggy Starscream here. Pookie in the Mirage Tower, taking on his Blue Dragon encounter for the Warp Cube. Leggy Starscream on to Chaos Shrine. We will see how difficult Chaos wants to be. If you guys want this race to be close, you're hoping for a hard Chaos, but nobody, and I mean nobody, likes a hard Chaos here. You've sat down for an hour and 57 minutes on Leggy Starscream's side. You probably want Chaos to be easy. So we will see what happens here with this Chaos fight. As we now enter the Chaos fight for the first time here, putting out those Giant's Tonics for that monk. As you can see, Chaos not being nice with that roasting attack there. Forget what it's called. Only having 821 health here, not something we like to see. We'd rather have that 900. 821. If Chaos hastes himself and attacks that monk has the potential to die here. But being nice and attacking that warrior. So we'll see what happens. Going for Temper and Giant's Glove, setting up to get as much damage as possible on this monk before sending it out. Monk going to attack, that's 2,000 damage, that is 10 turns. So right now he's at 18,000 HP. Gets that haste off. Haste is not a bad spell to see, it's just what happens afterwards. At now 16,000 HP, more Tempers here. Goes for the heal of the High Potion, casts the Flare, that Black Mage is down, that's at 300, that's 4,000. So we're now at 12k HP here, if I've counted correctly. Elixir coming out for that, putting the monk back at high HP. Tsunami coming out, doing almost 300 damage. That's another 3,000 HP. That's at 9. That's at 6. And there goes the monk. We do not like to see that. That was a surprisingly good Chaos up there until the end. But the casino does happen. The dealer wins the game, collects your chips. Pookie on to the Tiamat 1 fight here. So here we go, back to square one for Leggy Starscream. Giant Sonic on each turn, getting that monk up to 821, if I am reading that correctly. And Tiamat 1 for Pookie here, going for... Just going straight for the buff here. Getting the haste and everything onto Leggy here. And one mage goes down, casting Giant's Gloves, getting the temper, trying to buff up that monk HP. Let's see how it goes here. And we have an Ice Storm over for Pookie here. Mages are still looking fine. Monk is looking great here, setting up. And here we have the speed drinks going out. That other Black Mage is down, so only the Sabers coming out for the monk. Gonna probably load up on 5 Sabers here and maybe just try to send the damage, see where you are. Elixir going out, healing back up for Leggy Starscream, putting her monk at max HP. Taking damage, we've got 19,000 HP. That's a haste. That's not a bad spell to see. Tiamat 1 down goes for Pookie. That is now 17,000 HP here. Let's hope that Chaos does not attack. Tsunami comes out. 270 at 400. Almost 500 health for Leggy Starscream here. Going up a couple more Sabers. We're not happy that he's only at 70,000 HP and we've struck twice here. Need that little bit of extra damage. Another heal coming in. That ice going out. Okay, that was a good time to heal. Down to 142. Back up to 821 though. Pookie out of Tiamat here. Now swinging for like 3k here. This is looking to be a dead Chaos here within the next couple of turns. Will we see it here? That was actually some really good adapting from Leggy Starscream. It pains me to see it go down as we're now back over to square one in the Chaos. That was very close. Pookie going on to the Merilith fight, going to be running away from everything except a Merilith here. Going back, Giant Sonics again. Leggy Starscream definitely has not had bad strategies going into it. It's just Chaos has not been acting nicely. The question is, do you take that Force Giant Sonic here? Pookie on floor 2, getting that encounter over that land tile here. Not something we want to see, but something that you're probably going to end up running into. And here we go, getting the temper out, getting the haste out. Now speed drinks. Well, we see how much the monk will do here. 365. That is not enough at all. So back to the setup we go here. Both mages low on HP here, under 100 HP, but the monk at 783. Kiraja, not bad to see. We didn't do a lot of damage to him, so it's not an issue here. However, we are putting speed drinks on our monk. We are setting him up with tempers. I did not see how much that swung for here. So we will see. I think that might have been 1k or 2k. I don't think it's at 4k yet. Both of the Black Mages go down. We heal up with an elixir here. And we're going to attack 3,000. Okay. Another almost 4k worth of damage. Do we finish Chaos off here? Earthquake. It misses. I think this is the point where Chaos haste. Again, not a bad spell. It's just what happens afterwards. And at 2:04:37, Leggy Starscream beat Chaos and wins against the house. GG's in chat for Leggy Starscream. Oh, that was a time. It sucks to see like your setup goes so right and you get so close twice. And then have chaos wipe you out, but Leggy Starscream persevered through and was able to finish up. With a little over 2 hours. And we do like to see that. So meanwhile, Pookie is on Merilith here. Setting up, getting the Giant's Gloves off, getting the Temper off, getting the Haste off. So we'll probably see 2 turns of setup here and a 1 punch on Merilith. No, we're seeing the 1 turn of setup. Gonna get a 2 cycle Merilith here. 1200. Dark not doing anything. And here comes the next Temper as Merilith will go down next turn. As we see. And Pookie is now onto his casino here. Once he leaves Mount Glug. Or Gulag. Not stopping off of Cornelia to get that final last bit of shopping done. Instead, straight into the Chaos Shrine. Gets the Chaos Shrine encounter. Like I said, it's not a scary encounter. It's just a bit of an annoyance. You want to get this done as fast as you possibly can. Here, Leggy, let me actually fix that for you. Allow me to skaboodle. Like I said, it's not a scary encounter. It's just a bit of an annoyance. You want to get this done as fast as you possibly can.
Hey, hi.
GG's, Leggy. GG's.
That one, thank you. On the other hand, if Chaos hadn't punched the monk, that would have been a PB.
Yeah, I think, yeah, Shane brought that up. It was like everything was going right, and then Chaos said no.
Yeah, and like, looking back at my PB, I was over, like, nearly 6.5 minutes back when I picked up the Mystic Key.
Yeah, if I could ask, why did you not reset when the monk went down the second time? Was it fate saying the monk needed to go down, or?
It basically, like, at a certain point, you know, resetting for a more favorable outcome versus just taking the hand you're dealt and keep it going is, you know, one of the battles with, you know, racing this game versus PB attempts. This been a PB attempt, you know, I would have thrown that one away. But as you see, maybe I shouldn't have, because I almost PB'd this one.
Yeah, it was honestly crazy. There was, geez, like, Lich was nice. You had a nice lich.
Yeah. Like, because the mages were the only ones who really survived the Marsh Cave and Astos encounter, they had a lot more experience points than I was used to going into Earth Cave, which meant that I wasn't really hurting for a lot of experience on the first dive, which helped, me get through it very, very efficiently in terms of just resource usage. And then I noticed on the way back down that at level 14, one of my mages actually got the 30 int bump.
Yeah, I noticed that too, because you were hitting like 267 on trolls, and I saw I saw you hitting almost 300 on the lich, which did tell me that you were roughly at 30 intellect at lich.
Yeah, and so getting that was just like gave me the confidence because taking out Lich in 3 rounds instead of 4 means that, if he wastes the first 2 rounds doing basically nothing, you get that first try really nicely.
Yeah. Kraken 2 was hilarious.
Right.
Only ink.
Look, Kraken just wants to go back to playing Splatoon. And really, who can blame him?
Fair enough. The 3rd one came out recently.
The thing that really impressed me this run was Tiamat 1 didn't give me basically any trouble, relatively.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed, though, was your monk was sitting at, like, 821 HP at the end of it. Past the Giant's Tonics, if I read that correctly, or was it 921?
It's 900.
900? Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was seeing 2s, and I was like, what's going on here? Why is she going in with such low HP? This mad lad.
Yeah, no, like, the monk's HP was really sketchy until I was fighting Tiamat, basically. And at that point, I was just shy of cracking 300. I think I actually cracked the 300 in Temple of Fiends, if not, in Sky Cave.
Right.
But yeah, no, I had 321 for going in, which honestly, just having more than 250 HP for Tiamat 1 was just like a blessing. And then, like, my mages being absolute champs, taking 3 AoEs to go down from Chaos.
Yeah. That's what happens when your mages just get the HP every time. They're just sitting there and they all match the monk all the way through. It just feels nice. But speaking of the Tiamat, why did I saw you take Marilith before Tiamat? Is that just personal preference for you, or is there a reason to that? Was there just because your monk HP was lower or something? What was the?
Oh, that's actually my default routing, because it all has to do with the fact that I buy haste after Sea Shrine.
Okay.
And so because I need to go back to Elfland, and the volcano's like right there, I see no reason not to do it.
Okay.
Plus, the extra experience you get from going up the Flying Fortress isn't that much of a difference breaker in my book. So to me, it doesn't make doing Volcano first versus Flying Fortress first is a bit of a toss-up in terms of whether or not the volcano is going to go quickly or not. And in terms of the way that I route my overworld travel, I think it just makes sense to me. I haven't timed it. It's probably slower, but like I'm going to stand by it until someone shows me the numbers.
Fair enough. And I mean, hey, it worked, right? And like, you would have gotten the PB if chaos. Like, let's add that as an if chaos was nice, not due to your routing. So the routing makes sense, obviously.
Yeah.
And you know, with how everybody buys their hastes versus when they buy their haste in tempers, it could honestly just equal out to being the same.
Yeah, no, I've really come around on early temper, just because, like, having it for Astos is so nice.
But slow.
A little slow, especially if you get unlucky with early money, which, you know, we saw.
Fair enough, but, you know, you're... Like, both you and Pookie are good enough routers to adapt to that situation and just kind of say, I'm going to need to grind a little bit longer here, or something. So, being hurt for Gil early on, I don't think, you know, like, you to me, you know, me being into a router, if I was hit with the bad Gil, it would take me a little longer to say, do this, versus you would have... been kind of like on it right away.
Yeah, it's one of those things, you know, like once you do enough runs where you get to the point where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna go. You start to understand like some of the variants where you can cut corners, where you really can't.
Mm-hmm.
This one, like, I came into Elfland with, like, 1,400 gil in my pocket. That's not enough. But I went back out. I actually got some really good encounters for just gil hunting on the ocean. Came back with 800 gil. I'm like, okay, one Thundara, 800 gil of resources in a dream, let's go. And,
yeah.
And then, of course, Astos just gave me the Mithril Sword, which, you know, is 1,000 gil that I'm not used to having.
Yeah, I saw that drop, that hype drop. Everybody likes that hype drop.
Right?
It's like, only thing that beats it out is the X Potion from the Lesser Tigers.
Right? Which, I'm mad that I fumbled running away from two packs of Tigers.
And... Did you have continuous auto battle on for that?
Oh yeah, I've been running with it.
So, you know, that's just one of the downsides with continuous auto battle.
Well, yeah, you kind of have to have the good reflexes to turn it off, see what you roll, turn it back on. And like, I've got most of the muscle memory, but my head was already like trying to plan far enough in ahead for Lich going through the Melmond area. It's like Pookie just took out Kraken 2. Yo, nice.
Yeah, did take out Kraken 2, so he's on his final 2 elementals of Tiamat 2 and Chaos.
Yeah, I can sit here and talk all day. Let's actually get back to, you know, where the action's at.
Touche. So we've got a Vampire Lord as well as 6 vampires coming from Pookie here. He's trying not to have any of this. Also, Pookie has been working with a keyboard and mouse this whole entire time, so...
Oh, that is impressive.
Yeah, apparently his controller broke. So he has been doing this entire run with keyboard and mouse, and heavy respect.
Indeed, I would not be able to.
Yep, Thunderbolt coming from Tiamat here as he just goes ahead and sets up. You're not really fearing this Tiamat 2.
Yeah.
It's just better overall.
Anyway, at this point, I'm gonna wander off, try to let the adrenaline die down so I can get some sleep tonight.
Alright, you have a good night, Leggy.
You too. Later.
Alright, bye. Meanwhile, getting back to Pookie's side of the screen, and thank you, Leggy Starscream, for joining us and just being able to talk for a couple of seconds as being able to answer a couple questions. If you do want to follow leggystarscream, and I highly recommend you do, as she is a fantastic runner. There you go. Pookie, meanwhile, taking on Kraken here. It's looking like he's going to go down, as he just wasn't able to get up enough tempers and sabers here. Enough of his boosting moves. However, going back to it, we will see what happens here as he sets up again. Setting up the high potion, setting up the temper. High potion definitely very helpful here, as his monk is at 330 HP. Giant's gloves and the temper. Do we send this damage here? That is the question, and the answer is we do. As we send it out here, 20 hits for 1900 damage. Tiamat should go down within another hit or two. Attacking the warrior. That's what we like to see. As Tiamat goes down, meaning that he is only here for chaos, and the house will lose here. We are now to the last floor of chaos. Pookie sticking it out for us here, as we thoroughly enjoy both runners here. Huge shout out to Pookie for working with something that I don't think he's necessarily the most comfortable with, and still bringing a very, very strong run to the table for what is going on here. As he is now talking to Chaos. And starting his first Chaos fight here. Entering the Chaos fight. Let's see how easy this Chaos fight will be, as we get 2 Giant's Tonics out here. And will we see the 3rd Giant's Tonic here? Or the Giant's Gloves? 3 Giant's Tonic, but the turn 1 Flare. And a party wipe. That's annoying. At least it was a quick death. But we don't like to see any deaths, really. Meanwhile, entering Chaos again, going up for that Giant's Tonic setup. As we can see that he does have 4 Giant's Tonic spheres, so it's the attack on the warrior. One of the best things we could see, a free setup turn, going back, using the X potion and the haste here, as well as a Giant's Gloves to start getting off 2 amazing turns here. Love seeing that Kirijo when he's already at full HP. The haste and the X potion to get him back up to 930 HP here, getting the saber, and he's able to attack more. Let's see what happens next. Speed drink coming out from the first Black Mage as temper goes out, and another Giant's Gloves. Getting the Fire Aga, not something we want to see, as that is a strong one, but only hitting for 100 damage is very good, allowing for another relatively free setup turn. And a haste. Haste is not a bad spell, as I've been saying this whole entire time, but it's what happens after haste. We do not want to see him attack now. If he does, we want to see him attack that warrior. Kiraja happening again, another free turn, making haste ever so slightly worse of a turn for him, as he's now set up pretty decently here. And the question is, do we send out this here? We've got the 4th Giant Sonic out, Thundaga coming down. Not something we want to see. Still have a high HP Monk though, Giant's Glove and Temper, and that last Giant Sonic, maxing out our HP stat for the Monk here. Temper's going down the row here, and we have the Elixir. 1 Mage goes down, The elixir goes off here, bringing our monk back up to the highest HP total. Will we continue getting tempers? What will we get here? Are we just getting a high potion going to it? Kiraja, this is seeming like free. 5,400, we are at 15,000. I do round down here. 10,000, 2 more turns. That haste looking like it was such a bad thing. Oh, that was... that's adding an extra turn. But we more or less punched through that Kiraja there. Here we go. And Chaos is down for Lukey Pookie G. And his time, allow me to pull up the race room here, is a 2:25.24 for Lukey. With keyboard and mouse, something that, again, I don't think he's entirely comfortable with. But heavy respect out to the man, as he has now completed his run. Let's see if we can get him in. See if we can get him in here real quick, or if he wants to kind of sit back and relax. Lukey Pookie definitely bringing a really good showing here. And allow me to get Lukey Pookie G in here. Here's that. As we will wait. GG's, Pookie. GG's. That was a race, and may I say, a very interesting one. As you were running keyboard and mouse, as I heard that your controller broke. You're breaking up on my end. I'm not sure if it's me or if it's you. Let me check real quick.
Definitely me. Is that better? Any better there?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, that was my bad. That was an
No,
error for me unplugging and replugging in my controller. Yeah, I've never done keyboard before. I've carpal tunnel in both my hands, so that kind of hurt.
Oh, well, needless to say, you still brought a really good run out, especially for not being the most comfortable on keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, it ended up being like 2 hours 25, which isn't, terrible. All things considered for trying a new thing. I wish that I could have brought full A game to Leggy. I'll be honest. I did watch the end of Leggy's because I wanted to see if they'd PB.
Mm-hmm.
And I was too bad. I was actually real sad when they just missed it just barely.
Yeah, that is always a sad thing to see, but still, like, you both did bring great runs, and you did actually have the early game there. You had a much better Garland. And I know you buy 1 haste at Elfheim, correct?
I do like to live on the edge.
So much so, I guess that didn't come back to bite you, as you were able to get off your haste, as we saw, keeping him down in the 12.5.
Yeah, it was not too bad, and we ended up having pretty good mage health, and so eventually I could just start a run from everything. That was the big problem, was that having to think about every button push. I couldn't think so much about like which fights I need to flee from.
Right.
But it was interesting. It was fun to do, And honestly, the like past the Temple of Fiends in the past wasn't bad. It went pretty well for me.
No, that your Temple of Fiends is actually really, really good, and your chaos, may I say, was very, very nice.
I think I'm gonna start buying a 4th Giant's Tonic every time. It just feels so much safer.
It does, because you can use it if on Tiamat if your monk HP is looking a little down, or on like you did on Chaos, just being able to bring it up to the max of 999.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with Tiamat too. The second time I fought him, his thunder spells did half as much damage as they did the first time. What was up with that?
RNG?
I guess must have done someone else. But it was a great race. Congratulations to Leggy. Thanks so much for inviting me on to say hi. I'm not discouraged. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna buy a new controller, and I'm gonna win the rest of these so that I can rematch Leggy in the finals or whatever.
Well, you definitely have me rooting for both of you. You both have done super, super well, and even though you were running on keyboard and mouse, I did feel like you brought your A game, given what you were given. You know, it would have been, had somebody not of your skill level, done that, they might have just went ahead and said, "Don't have a controller, can't run." But
it was very frustrating. But I owe it to Leggy. They did a great run, and I owed it to them to just give everything I had. I'll try to do that.
No, and you definitely did. Anything you want to say before we do our closing thoughts here?
No, thanks so much. Be sure you follow Leggy and follow the Speed Gaming stuff. We got more races. I'll be racing all this week, about this time. So thanks so much.
Yeah. If you want to follow any of these runners, Luke, Pookie or Leggy Starscream, feel free to follow, given those links in chat. And if you want to see some a little bit worse runs going on, you can feel free to follow me as well if you do enjoy my commentary. I will be back on commentary tomorrow, I think, for your other race as well. I'm just getting a full dose of
I'll try to do something weird so that you have something to talk about.
Against Pato Riku tomorrow. So,
God. Okay, no, I'll do very by the book then.
No, so we have that at 7 p.m. tomorrow as well. If you're enjoying that. If you guys want to see more Final Fantasy as of right now, we do have a race going on Speed Gaming 3, Captain of the Dorks versus Funk Nasty. Be sure to tune into that one. Other than that, I've been RokubiAX. I have been super ecstatic and pleased to commentate over Pookie and Leggy Starscream's race. I hope you guys have a wonderful time, day, night, evening, afternoon, wherever you are, and I'll see you all next time.
Thanks so much, Roku. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
See you guys later.